What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Pinfalls and Playbooks podcast, episode number 27. As always, I'm your host, Faiz Kabir, alongside my co-host, Fardin Khan. And guys, we are in the middle of wrestling season. We're in the middle of football season. It's all coming down. It's all shaking down. We're talking about playoffs. We're talking about what's going on Raw, SmackDown, and as well as our favorite two NBA games. And we got a juicy sideline heel take to start the year off for this podcast. So we're gonna hop right into it with our wrestling recap. All right, guys, we're gonna start off with our SmackDown recap first. So first up on the show, it was the first, obviously we're back to 3 hours. So this is the first time that WWE is now really on the international tour right now in all of January, pretty much.
Yeah.
And pretty much it started off SmackDown in, I believe it was in Berlin.
Berlin, yes.
Yes, so we started off with Randy Orton starting the show off with pretty much doing his promos, and we had The Miz, so that's, I'm very curious I don't understand why The Miz and Randy Orton are really feuding right now.
I feel like The Miz is just there just to be there at this point.
Right, but then when Randy Orton is now haunting The Miz at this point, I'm pretty sure that's just super temporary right now.
Yeah.
But then we had Trick Williams pretty much interrupting Randy Orton, and it's like pretty much giving the WWE crowd like, all right, we're pushing Trick because he's interrupting all these big stars now coming out, so he's going to be the guy going forward on SmackDown. And he had his first match on SmackDown with Rey Fenix. He beat Rey Fenix. I expected that to happen anyway, so Trick Williams is pretty much gaining and trending momentum towards.
It's always like when the young stars come up, they need something to feed off of and then grow from there, pretty much.
Yeah, at that point, next on the show we had was pretty much the MFTs versus the Wyatt Six. It's still going, and it looks like the feud is still going to continue.
I don't know, man. You're probably going to see a few of them in the Royal Rumble. They're just going to go at it at each other, and it's just getting very, very annoying at this point.
They keep going.
It's like the saga that Damian Priest and Aleister Black had. Like, it's a constant saga where there's no end, and there's just got to be an end at this point.
Well, for this one, I feel like this feud's been going way longer than that one, too.
That's true.
And we had Solo Sikoa pretty much win this by picking up Bray Wyatt's lantern and pretty much causing distraction for the MFTs to pick up the win over the Wyatt Six. The Wyatt Six are technically still tag champs, so like, I don't know how long they're going to be holding on to that. I know SmackDown really needs a boost in the tag team division.
For sure, yeah.
They were the hottest last year, and now it's just so dead over there. But next up, we also had a new NXT star who just made their appearance on SmackDown, Jordynne Grace. She pretty much was on SmackDown. It's a good move for the future. She had pretty much a squash match at this point against Alba Fire. Jordynne Grace she's pretty much going to be one of those big stars going into SmackDown starting this year. There's a lot of faces for her to work with. We had Jade Cargill, who came out, confronted her, just saying like, okay, she's like basically the new star, but you got to go through Jade Cargill. So that's another future match down the line, building. Next up, we had Carmelo Hayes continuing the U.S. Open title with Shinsuke Nakamura. So Shinsuke Nakamura has been in the talk of town recently. He's been around a lot more on SmackDown as well. But he had this match with Carmelo Hayes. It was a great match.
It was a good match.
Nakamura could still do it. He could still put on a good match, especially when he has a good star like Carmelo Hayes to work off of. And it's good to see Carmelo Hayes continue to rise. Like, people thought he would be in this spot a while ago.
We saw that at the end of the match when Shinsuke like acknowledged him that he's good. You know.
But like, the thing is, like, people assume Carmelo's going to be like this a long time ago because remember, him and Bron Breakker came up together.
True.
Look at Bron and look at Carmelo. They're two different levels, in my opinion. And I feel like they shouldn't have been. They should have been on the same level on their separate brands, but I don't know why. Like, I guess
you just need to start, because if you think about it, Carmelo Hayes didn't really get his start until now.
Yeah.
And then we saw Bron Breakker last year, with the Intercontinental.
But he got it immediately, that's the thing.
But
so
we kind of knew that he just was going to get it. And a lot of people were counting out Carmelo Hayes because of it. But now we're just seeing that.
It's the start. Yeah, it's going to be the start now versus what Bron Breakker already has like a year ahead of him at this point.
Right, pretty much, yeah.
But we're going to see that play out. And then also we had Nick Aldis make an announcement of what's going to be going on for the path to the Rumble for the WWE Championship. So next week we're going to be having a bunch of qualifying matches. And the winner of those qualifying matches will go on a fatal four-way at Saturday night's main event in Montreal. And the winner of that will face the winner of the main event's championship at the Royal Rumble. So pretty much one of the, I'll run down pretty much the four matches. So we have Orton versus The Miz. So I guess that's where the feud was going. So the winner of that match is probably going to be Randy Orton, in my opinion.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's no doubt in my mind of that. Cardona. So we had Matt Cardona versus Trick Williams. Very interesting. Matt Cardona did say that he's going after Cody Rhodes for that championship, but in my opinion, I just think Trick Williams is going to be the one.
I think he's going to. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I think he's just also because he has feuds with he doesn't have feuds, but he interrupted Randy Orton already. He interrupted Sami Zayn, so it's like it makes sense for him to be in this match. So that's why I'm gonna pick Trick Williams in this. Next up we had is Damian Priest versus Solo Sikoa.
This could go either way, to be honest.
It could go either way, but the only reason why I think Solo might win is because, in my opinion, I believe that Solo... If you don't have Solo win, then you have all faces in that match. All baby faces. So, and Trick Williams. But, so the thing is,
Well, if you think about it, Sami Zayn's been getting, some, heat the last few months.
He's not going to get it in... But the thing is, the way that the show's going into...
He's going to win 2 in Montreal.
That's what I'm saying. So, it's the way that it's building to, it's looking like it's going to be for him. But overall, I think Solo might win because you could have 2 faces and 2 heels.
Makes sense.
Trick and Solo is the heels, and then you have the last match on the show, which is Sami Zayn versus Dragunov, which is going to be a really good match. These guys put on a really good match last time when they fought for the championship.
Right, yeah.
Because Ilya Dragunov beat him for the championship. So I do think it's going to put it on a banger show, but I think Sami Zayn's going to pull away for it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's going to be your fatal 4-way going into Saturday night's main event. It's probably going to be starting the show. I can definitely see it. And depending on what the main event is for that, but that's going to be a really good fatal 4-way that I could definitely see Sami Zayn coming out in that, in my opinion. But also one other thing we could talk about is the path for Sami Zayn, because a lot of people have been talking about how Sami Zayn is set to now face Drew. Well, we'll talk about who wins the pretty much main event. We'll go into the main event right now. So it was the 3 stages of Hell's match: Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes. Each match was a different stipulation. So first up, we had a regular match, and this match was probably 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it was pretty much a kickstart to just try to get to the other big matches, the latter 2 matches. So Drew McIntyre won this on a simple low blow and a Claymore kick, and Drew picked up the first fall. Next up, we had Cody Rhodes picking up the win in a false count anywhere. These guys went around the ring. They went around backstage a little bit. They came back. They were around the sideline. Around the fans area where Cody Rhodes did a big dive, jumping off the platform into Drew, into tables. It was a nice little dive. It was a good move. And then we had pretty much the match end where it was back on ringside and Cody Rhodes delivered a crossroads to Drew McIntyre on the announce table, and that is where he picked up his fall. And then we go to the final fall, which was, everybody knows, these matches are set for the final falls, which was a steel cage.
Right.
Steel cage match starts. It was going really good. I thought these guys had some big finishers, some big moves that they all kicked out of. And then it ultimately led to the point where Drew McIntyre was about to escape the cage, which we had a masked hooded figure come out. And people figured who it was going to be because we thought that this person was due to come back. But it was also involved in the storyline. Jacob Fatu returns. So we see Jacob Fatu returns, and we're like, oh, okay, I'm pretty sure a majority of the crowd were like, all right, he's going to cost Drew, and Cody Rhodes is going to win the title and sneak away with it. But that's not what really happened.
Technically, it didn't happen.
And it's a weird way to do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where is Jacob Fatu's mindset is at. So he gets into the ring, he attacks Drew McIntyre, and then Cody Rhodes, being the valiant babyface, he's like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, this is my match. You can't get involved here.
And I'm like, Cody, what are you doing? Escape the ring or fucking, the door's right there. But no, you want to touch Jacob Fatu, and Jacob Fatu attacks him, which leads to Drew McIntyre escaping the cage and winning the WWE Championship.
He basically snuck out while Jacob Fatu was attacking Cody Rhodes, and everybody was like, whoa, this is not happening. And it actually did happen.
It did happen, and it happened in a way that it makes it now more interesting, because now we see Cody Rhodes very pissed off, very confused of what was going on in this situation. And now we still don't know who is Jacob Fatu's attacker. And that's the big question, because people could assume it's Drew McIntyre, or people could also assume it's Cody Rhodes. But
people have been calling for Cody Rhodes to go heel, so maybe there's some potential outline in that sense to be like, okay, this is why he attacked Jacob Fatu, and then people are going to notice that, and then this is where he starts to progress into that heel phase.
But it depends all on how long that Drew McIntyre is really going to keep this title. A lot of people are already thinking that this is a transitional champ. A lot of people don't think that he's going to carry this title into WrestleMania. So we'll see what the play out is. But right now, based on what's going on, Drew McIntyre is going into the Royal Rumble to defend his title against a new challenger. So that means Cody Rhodes is going to be in the Royal Rumble.
Which I'm not saying he'll win or he won't win.
Listen,
if Cody TKO, man.
Listen, if Cody Rhodes is in the Royal Rumble, he's an automatic favorite. He's one of the top favorites.
He'll definitely be at the end.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the thing is, but you know how WWE can be very unpredictable when it comes to stuff like this. He could win it again. You don't know.
I can't, man. I will start physically throwing up if that happens.
And the thing is, now we're going to have a storyline where Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes are going to be feuding off, maybe. because Drew McIntyre is going to be trying to focus on whoever's going to be the winner of that fatal 4-way match. So let's see how it goes. We could end up getting a triple threat at Saturday night's main event. That could be a match.
Honestly, man, I know I was telling him this earlier this week, but I feel like there's going to be a potential fatal 4-way, not only on Saturday night's main event, but also at the Royal Rumble. I feel like whoever wins in the tournament, rather, like Orton, Miz, all of those people, it could be a fatal 4-way between Drew, Cody, Jacob Fatu, and then maybe Randy Orton. Obviously, he's been gunning for that title, especially since it was against Cody Rhodes. So it kind of just does make sense for it to be 2 fatal 4-way matches, really.
Right, overall, but this is a good thing for SmackDown. It shakes things up, especially in the WWE Championship title picture, because now we don't know what the story is, and it kind of forces everybody to kind of watch SmackDown, where the storyline is going.
I feel like this is just the kickstart, where it's like, okay, last year it was when The Rock decided, like, oh, I want Cody sold.
Right.
Potentially, this is the point where WWE's like, okay, we need to shake things up, give the fans a little bit more spice, some entertainment to talk about for weeks to come, and this is it. This is a good move by them at the end of the day.
And then that kind of sums up our SmackDown recap, which we're pretty much going to go jump into our Raw recap, where Raw started off with Rhea and Io opening the show, celebrating their tag team championship win, but we also have all the other women tag teams come in and try to challenge for it, and it ended up leading into a big brawl, which led into a triple threat tag team match that was set for later on in the show. First match on the show we had was actually the new signee, Javon Evans, was on the show against Bravo. Good showing for Javon Evans. He's just, obviously, he's an athlete, he's a prodigy. He's going to be doing this for a long, long time on Raw. We'll see him. We also had pretty much Jey Uso come out in a very promo, pretty much. He was just like, I guess it looked like Jimmy wasn't there.
No,
so
I bet he didn't travel to Germany.
Probably because he was with Naomi, like, back home.
Potentially, yeah.
So, like, what's the point if the Usos are not really doing anything? Why make him travel out there for it?
I guess it's just to promote the brand. And
Right, it's just to promote and then pretty much say, well, that's not true because it looks like Jimmy might be back next week. They might be facing the Alpha Academy.
Yeah, because they had a backstage encounter. And they basically, Uso was like, you guys deserve it, yes, but don't expect us to give it to you just like that.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's the point. Honestly, like on these international crowds, one of the biggest chants is the Yeet chant. So obviously Jey Uso is going to make an appearance for it. Next up, we had CM Punk come out. CM Punk to do I guess it was a storyline where he beat Bron Breakker now, and now he's asking what's next for him. And it's very interesting that they're doing this one and done with Punk and Braun.
For now,
because it looks like they're going 2 different paths at this moment.
Yeah.
And CM Punk was pretty much talking to the crowd where we had an interruption by Finn Balor. And this was interesting because we had a backstage segment where Liv and Roxanne was asking Finn Balor, what are you doing? Like, you're just playing video games back here. Go do something while all of us are actually going to do something. And Dom's out, so he's the only one that's backstage playing video games. And then Finn Balor just said, I'll show you. And that's what happened in the next segment. He came out to confront CM Punk. And it made it interesting because I believe these two never fought each other in WWE.
And we saw when CM Punk was calling out a lot of people, he mentioned
Finn Balor. Because obviously Finn Balor is a very, very talented wrestler, but he's also a very influential wrestler with all the stuff that he's done outside of wrestling. This was a lot because recently he just did a podcast with Cody Rhodes, and that went a little bit viral because they were talking about his time all in the Indies, especially creation of the Bullet Club. That's all Finn Balor. So, and the thing is, all these people that were in Bullet Club, they're all mainstream stars now, and it all stems from Finn Balor. So Finn Balor was in the news a lot this week, and it made sense for him to show up on Raw, especially with the show being in Ireland next week. And that is exactly what happened. We had CM Punk announce that he's going to be facing Finn Balor for the WWE Championship, World Heavyweight Championship in Belfast. And obviously, we all know that Punk's going to win that match, but I definitely don't think that these guys cannot have a good match because they're both really good, talented wrestlers. And Finn Balor's definitely going to show out in Ireland for his country. So I think these two are going to be main eventing the show. They should be main eventing the show.
I don't see why they wouldn't.
And I think they're going to have a really, really good match. So I'm excited for that. Next up, we had the women's tag triple match that we mentioned earlier. Liv and Roxanne, they picked up the win. It makes sense because they're probably the most over team right now out of the other two. Because the other two kind of already faced Rhea and Io so many times already. But Liv and Roxanne, they're going to be the number 1 contenders at Saturday night's main event. They're going to be facing Rhea and Io for their titles. Next up, we had Raquel Rodriguez, she came out. I believe she came out, which Stephanie...
She came out first, and
Yeah.
Stephanie Vaquer came out to basically confront her for attacking her last week because we thought that Stephanie Vaquer was hurt, and I don't know how the
She is still... So she still is hurt.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I read like online that she is hurt, but she's okay for contact. So her foot is like fucked up. But she could take bumps, she can take hits. So I believe the storyline is obviously these two girls are going to have a match. I don't know if it's going to be at Saturday night's main event because depending on recovery time, it could be safe for the only women's match I could see happening at the Royal Rumble.
Which is perfect for everybody to go to the bathroom at that point.
But because we all know Stephanie's going to win that match, so it's leading to that. Next up, we had a pretty hot angle versus where we had Division versus Penta and Dragon Lee.
Yeah, it was Bronson Reed and Austin Theory versus those two. And Penta and Dragon Lee, honestly, that's a really high-flying tag team.
It's a good team, but
outside of like the perspective side, you know.
It's weird because like the team should be Penta and Rey Fenix. They're brothers. Yeah. They're literally the Lucha Brothers, but they kind of now it's just because I guess Penta's on Rey Fenix is on SmackDown. You can't really move him yet, so you got to deal with Dragon Lee for in between. But Dragon Lee, he was the star of this match in my opinion because let's talk about what happened at the end of this match because these guys were putting on a show, but we had Bron Breakker making an appearance because...
My man flew out of nowhere, this guy.
Well, yeah, because the whole point of the show that they were talking about is like Bron Breakker's nowhere to be found. And they just assumed like, okay, Bron Breakker's didn't make the show. But he did. He came out and he delivered a massive spear to Dragon Lee. And they did it with a drone shot and it was insane
I saw,
to see Dragon Lee take that bump. And Bron Breakker just started wrecking people. He wrecked Penta, he wrecked Dragon Lee again, which led to Adam Pearce finally coming out and trying to make some, I don't know how to say this, like
just control
the environment.
Yeah,
like what ended up happening and what the story is, Bron Breakker's super pissed off of his loss, and you can't control a dog like him. And what ended up happening is Adam Pearce put his hands on Bron Breakker first, and that is the story now going forward because after he put his hands on him, it led to Bron Breakker putting his hands on Adam Pearce and putting him in his place. And we had Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul all try to calm him down and take him to the back. This led to a continued segment into the back where Adam Pearce was telling Bron Breakker, where are you going? You're going to pay for these actions. You're now suspended indefinitely. So this means that Bron Breakker most likely will be off the shows until Royal Rumble. I could definitely see him just making a comeback at the Rumble.
He's 100% going to be at the Royal Rumble.
And then at the Rumble, he can make a comeback there. And then let's see what he does at the Rumble there. He could go off. He could win it. He's one of the favorites for sure. But it also led to a segment where Paul Heyman was telling him that, Adam Pearce, you are the one that touched Bron Breakker first. You might have to pay for these consequences. So it could be eventually leading to Adam Pearce maybe
like a double-edged
losing power.
sword at this point.
Yeah, and if you think about it, Raw has so many like people in charge for so many times. But I feel like Adam Pearce has been in charge for a while.
Yeah.
So this might be a change in management or whatever it is. It might be something to spice things up in the Raw's management side on that.
Potentially,
because you never see like management figures be lasting this long, and I feel like Pearce has been doing it for 4 or 5 years at this point. But that led straight into the main event, which was the best part of the show, which was everyone expected to be the best part of the show, was AJ Styles versus Gunther. And this match was in Dusseldorf in Germany, where Gunther grew up, so Gunther was very over as well. AJ Styles was very over as well. So we had two people that were both being cheered by the crowd. Gunther was laying in a lot of chops to AJ Styles, but the story of the match was AJ Styles going after Gunther's leg to try to make him tap out with his calf crusher. So I love this match a lot because it's only the beginning too, but it was complete storytelling from the very beginning where AJ was trying to make him tap out by targeting that leg the entire match. And that led right into the finish of this match where we had Gunther locked in the calf crusher, but the referee was on the other side, did not able to see Gunther do a tap out. So Gunther, there's a visual of Gunther physically tapping out to now Jey Uso and AJ Styles. So in storyline wise, yes, obviously it's not counted as a submission loss because it wasn't seen. But now the crowd knows that Gunther can be tapped out by AJ Styles. They witnessed it. And AJ Styles felt the tap on his leg, which why he celebrated, but it led to the referee saying the match is going to continue. When AJ went to go back to Gunther, Gunther delivered a low blow and ended up being a powerbomb and picking up the win. This is obviously not the last time we're going to see these guys fight. This is going to be only the beginning. All right, so that basically means that Gunther is now obviously lost his match. In theory, he lost his match. Yeah. But we know we're going to get another match between AJ Styles and Gunther. We don't know when it's going to be, but we're going to find out very soon because I don't know if this match is going to be able to pull towards WrestleMania time.
It could be Saturday night's main event.
Could be Saturday night's main event, or it could be anytime on Raw, especially with all these international shows on. They want to have these high-profile key matches like we saw, especially with Punk and Balor.
Exactly.
But that kind of sums up the Raw recap for this week, and the wrestling recap in terms of that, we're pretty much on the road to Saturday night's main event and the road to Royal Rumble. And we're going to see exactly who are the true stars coming out of these shows, who are going to be the favorites. It's going to get more and more apparent.
We might see some surprises at the Rumble. There's always some good stuff to see. A lot of returning people, maybe some, like, I don't know. It's just
especially it being in Saudi Arabia.
For sure, yeah.
You know they're going to probably want to some huge surprises out there. So I wouldn't be surprised as well. But that sums up our wrestling recap for this week. All right, guys. Now it's time for our sports recap for this week's episode, and we're going to start off with our NFL recap first. NFL Wildcard games just finished up, and we had a lot of good games this week. So if we're
every game was
pretty good. We're going to start off with first game of the week, which was the Rams versus the Panthers. The Rams won this 34-31. It was a high-scoring game, like we kind of predicted at this point, but it was a scary game because a lot of people saw that the Rams were not playing like they
vulnerable.
were. They looked very vulnerable with the Panthers team that a lot of people do not believe in.
Right.
And these Panthers team, they put on a show. Bryce Young put on a show. They pretty much came out saying that he is a quarterback of the future.
Yeah, we saw a big game from Jalen Coker, and they got Ted McMillan involved. But the one thing that I kind of was a little bit of a downfall for the Panthers is they didn't really establish the running game.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you have a dual running back like Dowdle and Hubbard, how can you not establish the running game? But I think that's actually more prowess on the Rams front line. Jared Verse played a really good game, and he controlled that entire front line. It's crazy to see how a young defensive team like them are so solid on all plays of the ball, because I do see that obviously it's a high-scoring game on both sides, but the defenses look good on both sides too. It's weird because
they were in the top 10 all year in defense for the Rams.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Rams and the Panthers defense low-key kind of both look good, but the Rams, they pulled it away. Puka Nacua had a good game again. It's just he's obviously kind of, in my point, like separating himself as probably the best receiver in the NFL right now. And we're seeing that the run game is also working for the Rams as well. They're getting the ball to their weapons. Devontae Adams had a few good catches as well. Stafford, one thing to watch out is Stafford is a little injured. His finger, on his throwing hand, there's a problem there. And I don't know if he's going to work through it. He's obviously said that it's bothering him a lot. And I think with him saying that, the team that he plays next, they're going to target that.
Yeah.
Especially with that team that they're playing next. So, in my opinion, the Rams, they did what they needed to do to pick out this win and ink it out. But the Panthers, there's a lot of things to look forward to as for the Panthers team.
They're young. They have a good coach. They have some salary cap. So there's a lot of room for improvement, especially next year when their division is not looking as good. Obviously, we saw the Bucs struggle throughout the year. The Falcons, we don't know what their coaching situation, who they're going to hire. And the Saints are the Saints at this point, but the Saints, Tyler Scholl looked really good at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of room for growth, especially for the Panthers, since they just made the playoffs with their young core. They can definitely make some noise next season.
But I'm excited to see the Panthers lived up to my expectations because I did see them trying to make an actual impact this season. And I wanted to see the jump from Bryce Young, and I did see it.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see the Panthers actually do what I wanted them to do because I knew they had the capability with all the weapons. And I know Bryce Young's not a bad player.
No.
I always knew. I know a lot of people counted him out.
Everybody just needs that one coaching change where it allows them to fully elevate their game and show up in big moments. And this
it's that, and also,
thing for Bryce
but the thing
Young.
with Bryce Young, a lot of people's thing was they didn't feel like he had the physical attributes for it.
True.
But in my opinion, he threw that all out the window this season because him being one of the shortest quarterbacks in the NFL, he played really big this year. And I'm happy to see Bryce Young do that.
A lot of people will want to go play for him too at this point, seeing what he accomplished this season. But the thing about the Rams is, if you can, I guess, expose their defensive weaknesses, you can score as much points as them because we know they're going to put up the points at that point.
It's just depending on how much you can contain them and how much you can keep up with points with them.
Right,
That's the
right,
problem.
yeah.
Because the Rams will outscore you.
For
if
sure.
you can outscore them, you'll win the game
Yeah.
at this point. But next up, we have the Packers versus the Bears.
Yeah, so this was the second wild card game on Saturday night. And the Packers, early on, it looked like they were going to run away with this game. We thought it was going to be a blowout. They were firing on all cylinders, both on offense and defense. And they went up 21-3 at halftime, and it took the life out of the Chicago crowd because they were looking forward to a playoff game. I can't even remember the last time Chicago hosted a playoff game. I know they've been into the playoffs
been a while.
in the last 10 years, but at Soldier Field, I don't think I've seen it in a while. And we just saw the crowd just look lifeless. But then, as I always said throughout the whole podcast, it's like you sit up when you lose in at halftime. And that's exactly what the Bears did. They showed up on offense. They showed up on defense. They outscored the Packers in the second half, in the fourth quarter, rather. 25-6. And we're like, what the hell just happened? Because they didn't have no offense in the first half, but in the second half, they completely turned it around. Ben Johnson, he's going to have pull-out plays. But the thing I want to touch upon most is that Caleb Williams, he is that guy.
I knew he was.
I mean, we knew he was. He just wasn't able to show it out up until this season. Obviously, last season, it was his rookie season.
Yep.
He didn't really get the opportunities, especially with his coaching situation. But now he has the right coach, and his full arsenal was on display in this game in particular. And then I believe towards the end of the game, there was a crucial fourth down, and he just threw off his back foot a bomb down the field to Roma Dunze.
On the money.
On the money, too.
Money.
And it just shows his arm talent. And it's good for the Bears. They won this game 31-27. And it's like that season that the Lions had a couple of years ago where they finally won a playoff game and God knows how long, and the fans are just like super livid. Obviously, they made the NFC Championship game this year. And damn it, the Bears have an opportunity this year to make the NFC Championship game.
They do.
But at the end of the day, this was more on the Packers than it was against the Bears, because how do you let them come back after being up that much points at the end of the day? And
it puts a lot of things into questions. Matt LaFleur into question.
And we just found out that the Packers are going to keep Matt LaFleur this season.
I don't see why they wouldn't. You shouldn't get rid of Matt LaFleur anyway.
I think what the problem with the Packers is their front office decision making, because they never really put this good skill playmakers for Jordan Love around him.
He doesn't have a star receiver.
No.
He has an aging running back in Josh Jacobs at this point. It's not looking good for the Packers offensively because...
But I also want to mention that no Micah Parsons, and that would have definitely been a little bit of a more juiced up defense.
Micah Parsons, he's a game wrecker. Anytime he's on the field, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So I do think that Micah Parsons, if he played in this, this could have been a different story.
For sure.
Because I could see him keeping that Bears offense down. But Caleb Williams delivered what he promised he was going to do, because it's weird to see Caleb Williams as one of these players. He's one of these new gen players. So a lot of people don't like to see these new gen players succeed, especially the way that he is, the way that he doesn't care about what people think. We saw
him cheese grating in the Amazon Prime.
Exactly. I find that stuff hilarious.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
But obviously there's people, there's memes of him doing it with his nail polish on, right? Obviously people are going to point that stuff out, but Caleb Williams is out there balling, playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, like the number one pick that he is. And the Chicago Bears, they're another team that I did see try to make the jump this year. And the Bears and both Panthers, they delivered on things that I wanted them to see this year. Because I had a feeling that Caleb Williams was going to play a really big year, and that's exactly what he's doing now. So the Bears are moving on. Let's see if they can continue this role into the later half of this playoffs, because it's all about how they can contain it.
Much more moving forward.
Oh, for sure. Especially we could see the real truth and how good Caleb Williams can be. Is he clutch enough? Is he able to win these games later on in this playoffs?
Yeah.
And next up, we had on Sunday, starting off the week, Sunday was the Bills versus the Jaguars. And obviously in this game, a lot of people thought the Jaguars were going to be the ones to come out on top because of their offensive weapons.
And how hot they've been.
And also their defense is playing very solid. But you're playing against Josh Allen. I'm sorry, but Josh Allen is probably the best quarterback in the NFL right now, because you can't count against Josh Allen at this point. And Josh Allen proved that this entire game. It started off slow for both teams because there was a lot of defense being played, which was great to see, because throughout this entire wildcard games, there was a lot of good defense played in all fronts.
Except for the Rams and Panthers game.
Except for that game. But every other game, there was a lot of good defense played. And we had the Bills pretty much, obviously, they're banged up still with a lot of their players out on the defensive wise. But on the offensive wise, we had good games from, I believe it was Shakir had a big game. James Cook was trying to get... Brandon Cooks. James Cook wasn't really getting off because of that Jaguars defense. But we had a play where Josh Allen is doing what he always does in the playoffs. He's going to win with his legs.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Josh Allen does in every playoffs. Everybody knows that if there's probably maybe 3 yards or less, he's running that damn ball and getting that first down or touchdown. And we saw that in this game a few times where Josh Allen got some rushing touchdowns where we pretty much had the offensive line carrying him into the damn end zone at this point.
Yeah, it's like, he got carried like 10 yards into the end zone. And people are like, oh, how can you not ban the tush push? Like, let it happen. If you're going to if you want to ban the tush push, find a way to stop the tush push instead of banning it. It's technically still a legal play, and you just got to keep it legal at this point.
Yeah, and I think that now we had Trevor Lawrence, who had a chance to try to win this game and with a comeback and drive it down the field, but he threw a pass where Tre'Davious White was absolutely covered and smothered on. I forgot who he threw it to.
Jacoby
Myers. And Jacoby Myers did nothing all game. Brian Thomas Jr. kind of didn't do anything this game either.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, your receivers didn't show out at this point. So, like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, they had a big game from Travis Etienne. Parker Washington had a big game.
But not your two-star receivers.
Yeah, your two-star, potential superstar wide receivers, and you didn't really get them the ball. And I feel like we saw it throughout the whole season where they couldn't get Brian Thomas the ball. They obviously traded for Jacoby Myers. They got him the ball. But you have two explosive studs, and they couldn't do it against a weaker defense, which is kind of surprising to some people. But I guess that's just how life works in the NFL
But that's
playoffs.
what happens. The thing with the Buffalo Bills, people call their defense whack, not good, and at all. But they always show up.
When it matters the most,
they
that's
lock
when they
up.
show up. Yeah.
And they lock up. It's crazy. Deion Dawkins on the front, and then Tre'Davious White in the backfield. These two lock up all the time.
For sure.
And you see it every playoffs because people always think the Bills' downfall is their defense. But this game won them. Their defense won them this game, and the Buffalo Bills move on with Josh Allen looking ahead, with not Joe Burrow, with not Lamar Jackson, with not Patrick Mahomes ahead of him.
Yeah, it's just him and him alone at this point.
At this point, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the Buffalo Bills walk into the first divisional round of the playoffs. Next up, we had the 49ers versus the Eagles.
Yeah, so every time these two teams get together, they played 2 years ago in the NFC Championship game. It was a tough, gritty game, a lot of dirty plays. We saw a fight break out. This game was a little bit more on the cleaner side, not a lot of things going on, but it was still tough and gritty at this point. It was a defensive battle from both teams. They slug it out early, but throughout the game, like, we saw them not be able to move the ball. Granted, we've always been talking about how the Eagles' offense, they just haven't looked like the same Eagles' offense from a couple of years ago, and they didn't really establish the run game. They moved the ball down the field passing-wise, but they only scored points when I guess it's just with Dallas Goedert and stuff like that.
Listen, the thing with that I realize with the Eagles, they could have easily won this game. And the reason why they lost this game is because there was a lot of hoopla going on with A.J. Brown on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And A.J. Brown has complained all year long about not getting his touches, not getting the ball.
It's a team sport.
In the playoffs, there was plays drawn up for him to specifically get this ball, and the few times that he did, he had crucial drops in this game. And in my opinion, if you're asking for that damn ball in the playoffs,
you better do something with it.
There's no way you can drop those balls, especially you're trying to win against the 49ers. So I can't believe that there's some plays that are very questionable that Kevin Petula drew up, and now look at him.
Now he's gone.
Kevin Petula is already out. So people knew and people automatically understood that Kevin Petula was a problem on that offense because there was no identity on that offense all season long. And we saw it in this game where the passing game wasn't developing. Devontae Smith was absolutely non-existent. I don't know how you can have a player like him non-existent.
It's like with the Jaguars. You have you have one superstar wide receiver and one budding superstar as another wide receiver, and you barely got on the ball.
And obviously, the thing is on the 49ers side, you had a George Kittle who went out. And
they suffered another. This is probably their biggest offensive injury outside of CMC.
Outside of CMC going hurt. But now CMC is carrying this damn team and basically making it like, all right, I'm gonna carry this team into the maybe Super Bowl, maybe how far they can go.
Yeah, like he's showing why he's the best running back of our generation.
Right, like stats wise, receiver wise, and it's crazy because
he does it all.
He does it all.
Yeah.
And now we had the defense on the 49ers led by Robert Saleh.
Who's back, yeah.
That's where he just belongs.
Yeah.
He ain't no damn head coach. He never should have been a damn head coach.
It's like with Mike McDaniel getting fired. Watch he goes be an OC somewhere, and all of a sudden that offense becomes the best offense of all time. You know?
And it's like, all right, these coaches, they know what they do best, and that's where they are. And Robert Saleh made these guys play like some lockdown defense with their second string units.
Yeah.
And which it makes it even more impressive because you know that's coaching involved. That's not just talent.
And good sign for them is we've seen Fred Warner starting to warm up.
Fred Warner's starting to warm up and come back. That's a problem.
That's your defensive mastermind right there.
That's a problem right there. So the 49ers move on. And the Eagles, defending champs, are now eliminated. So I know that blew a lot of wind out of the Lincoln Financial Field because that entire crowd was dead silent when that final time went out. So that's interesting to see. Let's see what the future for the Eagles hold because we don't know if Sirianni's going to stay. We don't know if A.J. Brown's going to stay. We'll see what that plays out. A lot
of off-season decisions for them.
But the 49ers are moving on. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Chargers versus the New England Patriots. Very, very defensive-heavy game on both sides of the field. So we had the Los Angeles Chargers playing actually very good defense. And that was a question for me was, can the defense actually play well against Drake May and the offense that they've been riding hot on? But let's talk about where in the first half, there was really no offense on either side. There was on the receiver side for the Patriots, Drake May was getting pressured a lot. He wasn't able to get the balls to the receivers. The run game was kind of non-existent. Ramondre Stevenson got a lot more touches this game versus Travion Henderson, which I don't like. I don't know why Ramondre's getting the touches again more. It's so weird because I don't understand like why they're able to let Travion go off and then cool him down with Ramondre coming back and then getting more touches. Like they need to find out how to utilize both of them because Travion Henderson barely got in the game and towards the end. And the thing is, when they started playing him more in the second half, that's when the Patriots started getting first downs.
You know what it is like when you see it from the Lions' perspective, where it's like you have Jahmyr Gibbs and you have David Montgomery.
Yeah.
They utilize them 1, 2, 3, 4 drives. You know, like they'll use this one for one drive and then another for the other drive.
But the Patriots,
there's no in between.
There is no. The Patriots, they keep riding one until one gets tired.
Yeah.
And then they put in the other one. So like they're not doing a good job of utilizing it back and forth. When it comes to Justin Herbert,
I feel bad for him.
At this point,
you have to feel bad for him.
You feel bad for Justin Herbert. He wasn't able to get the ball out. That O-line is absolutely atrocious. We had the Patriots defense maul him.
Blitzkrieg.
We blitzed him every single time we could. And obviously the Patriots, they're not going to stop this blitz if you can't stop it. So the Patriots continued to blitz all game pretty much at that point, which held the Chargers to 3 points. The Chargers did not score a single damn touchdown in this game. And we had Drake May in the second half who kind of had a good drive, which pushed it away from this game. That one good drive was kind of the deciding factor in this game. He delivered a strike to Hunter Henry, got the touchdown. Hunter Henry always gets a damn touchdown in these playoffs. And Hunter Henry is our security blanket no matter what. We had Kayshon Boutte, had a big catch. Stephon Diggs did some catches as well. But Drake May didn't look the best, and that's because of the defensive pressure as well. But it's good. It's a good way to see how the Patriots are going to basically deal with the top defense like this. We played a top defense and we struggled a little bit. So it's going to be very interesting to see how I believe Josh McDaniels need to pretty much sum up something and draw up a huge plays to fight this crazy defense on both sides. When it comes to the Chargers, I don't know where they go from here. Like
they got to beef up their offensive line.
Like that's the only thing I can think of.
The thing about their offensive line is they were hurt.
Joe
Aldo was out. Rashawn Slater was out for the season. If they could do that, I feel like they can definitely be a lot better on the offensive side because you don't really have a running game, and then you can't throw the damn ball, and it all relies on your offensive line.
And then Justin Herbert, like I don't think he's that mobile to get around like that.
No, he's mobile, but you can't really become mobile when you have no protection, when you're getting surrounded, and it's like a feeding frenzy with sharks. It's like, yo, they smell blood in the water and they're gonna surround them, and that's exactly what they did.
And the thing is, like, this is another first round exit.
Yeah.
And
this one was more justifiable than the last few ones because at the end of the day, you can't really pin this game on Justin Herbert because he didn't really have much time to even get the ball out.
Yeah, so, and it looked like he ended up getting hurt too at the end of the
Yeah.
game. So, like, he took a beating and finally got the last sack, which caused a forced fumble where the Patriots picked up the ball and ran out the clock at that point.
I'll give him a pass for this one.
In terms of the Patriots side, we're moving on with a lot of things to fix, and I know that Mike Vrabel is one of these coaches where he's going to pretty much focus on that all game long in practice. He's going to coach the hell out of these guys. He's going to make them work in pretty much preparation for the games that are coming up, especially against the opponent that we're going to be having, which is going into right now where we're talking about is the Texans versus the Steelers.
Yeah, so the Texans, they ran away with this game 30-6. They beat the Steelers.
There was nothing happening in the first half, though.
No. There was no offense because both defenses are just really good. But at the end of the day, the Texans have the best defense right now in the NFL.
For sure.
Like, you have Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter we have Will Anderson on one side, Danielle Hunter on the other side, Azeez Al-Shaair in the middle, Kamari Lassiter on his corner, Derek Stingley as your main corner, Jalen Peachy as your safety. It's just like, they're good on all three levels of the defense, and it showed throughout this whole game. Rodgers did as much as he could. He had to do the play-action passes, got the ball to DK Metcalf earlier on, but as the game progressed, obviously the Texans, they started to pick up what Rodgers was doing, and that's what championship defenses do. They slowed down the quarterback, and at the end of the day, they made it hard for Aaron Rodgers. We just saw him obviously he's not Aaron Rodgers of old.
He's too old to be doing this.
He can't escape, this and that. We saw him get sacked a few times, and then there was a crucial play where he got strip sacked, and then the ball ran in for a touchdown by Sheldon Rankins. And this is crazy because this is the type of defense that you look back in a couple of years, or you look forward to in a couple of years, like, damn, they had a really good defense. Obviously, we talked about the Legion of Boom from back in the day.
The Jets.
The Jets defense from earlier on with the Rex Ryan defense.
No. We're talking about a few years ago with Sauce Gardner and those guys.
Oh, I was talking about
those guys too.
Yeah.
But people thought that Sauce Gardner team, those guys are going to be an elite defense.
They showed out early, but we're not here to talk about the Jets. But the Texans, they won this game. On offense, however, the questions surround, can they be consistent with their defense? The old saying in football world is, you have a championship defense, give them 14 points.
Yeah.
And I feel like this Texans offense can do that. Because if you give that defense 14 points, they'll keep it to a point where they're not going to go past 10 points, depending on who they play. And at the end of the day, CJ Stroud, he did enough. He got the ball to Christian Kirk, who this was his first postseason, had 144 yards. We had a big game from Woody Marks. And the Texans, they're rolling right now. And then
they did lose Nico Collins.
On the Steelers side, we literally found out, maybe like 3 hours ago, that Mike Tomlin, he's stepping down as head coach. So now you have two of the most iconic AFC franchises, the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, without head coaches. And I was just telling him, what if they swapped? That'd be the craziest thing.
A lot of people are saying that Mike Tomlin's just going to retire because he doesn't.
He doesn't have much to prove.
That's what I'm saying. And I could definitely see Harbaugh still coaching.
He's gonna coach.
I don't know about Mike Tomlin.
He probably take some time off to join the media, ESPN,
that's what I could
Fox or whatever.
I could definitely see Tomlin doing that role.
Yeah.
But in terms of quickly, I want to speak on the Texans is their offense definitely got to show out more.
Need to be more consistent.
But
Nico Collins, I know he suffered a potential concussion, so there's some cause for concern over
there. They're on the offense. They don't even get him the ball anyway, and look at him, and now he's not going to even be there to get the ball.
Potentially,
to him. So we'll see how that plays out. But in terms of the Steelers, we don't know what the future is for Rodgers. Rodgers is still not really giving a real decision on what his future is. That's usually how he is anyway.
Yeah.
But
now they need a new head coach. Probably they're going to need a new quarterback.
But now with the new head coach and maybe a new quarterback, the Steelers might be looking at a completely different team next year.
For sure.
So we'll see how that plays out. But that kind of sums up our NFL Wildcard games recap. All right, guys, now it's time to get into our predictions for the NFL Divisional games. First up, we got the Buffalo Bills versus the Denver Broncos. In my opinion, I think the Buffalo Bills are going to expose the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are the most fraudulent #1 seed I've ever seen in my life. I don't think Bo Nix is good. I don't think he's going to be good enough to beat the Buffalo Bills, and especially to play a better quarterback against Josh Allen. I doubt it. I'm just taking the Buffalo Bills, honestly, based off experience, based off of coaching. And, well, obviously, coaching on the other side, you do have Sean Payton. But for the Buffalo Bills, they usually step up in these damn playoffs. And I could definitely see them making it back to a championship game. Josh Allen, this is his chance to pretty much get it there. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to find his way to maneuver through that Denver defense. We know that the offensive game, like the passing game, is already kind of non-existent with the Bills, but they can try to get it open. But I don't feel like it's going to be, especially with Surtain and all those crew playing back there. But it all depends on if he's able to maneuver around the front line. And the front line, they've been shaky all game. Let's talk about the Denver Broncos, where honestly, they won a lot of these games by only a few points. They didn't win any of these games decisively, in my opinion. And when you're playing a team like the Buffalo Bills, you got to put them down, especially with Josh Allen. I don't see it happening. I'm picking the Buffalo Bills to win this game 24-16.
24-16. So, how I just mentioned about the Texans, like you give that defense 14 points. Obviously, the Broncos defense, they're a good defense.
Yeah.
And this can be said the same thing about the Broncos, where if the offense can give them 14 points, I feel like the defense can manage. But you're going up against Josh Allen. That's the key here. And we saw this matchup, obviously, last year between the Bills and Broncos, and the Bills just spanked them, really. I'm not saying this is going to be a spanking from the Buffalo Bills because this is not the same team from last year. They're not as healthy as last year. But if the Bills can establish the one flaw that the Broncos defense has, they're not a really good run defense, run stopping defense.
And you have
arguably the best running back yards wise right now.
James Cook.
If the Bills can establish the running game, they're going to win this game. And I feel like they're going to do just that. Obviously, they're going to go into the Mile High Stadium. The Broncos, they're coming off not being... They didn't play last week. They had a bye week because they were the 1 seed. I'm going to roll with the Bills on this one as well. I feel like this is not going to be a Josh Allen game, but more a James Cook game, a Ray Davis game, a Tyler Johnson game.
Right.
Maybe some play action passes. But I feel like if they can tire out that Broncos defense with their running game, they're going to pull out this victory. And I'm going to say they win this game 27-17.
Okay. And then next up we got is the other AFC matchup. We got the Texans versus the Patriots. This is going to be a hard game for the New England Patriots going in. We already know this. Will Anderson is a monster. Lassiter's a problem. Stingley's a problem. Danielle Hunter's a damn problem. And Shazier is a massive problem, being a really good Mike linebacker as well. Drake May's he has to be able to pretty much call out the defensive plays and do a lot of audible calling in this game, in my opinion. And there's not that much that he does of that. So it's going to be a lot of studying for him in this leading up to this game, in my opinion. I think these guys are going to lock in. They have to lock in with Josh McDaniels on that side. The defensive side, just do what you keep doing. I think our defense is playing on a very high level right now. And on all sides of the ball, we're playing very good. Marcus Jones is playing really great. We got, what's his name? Kayvon Chasen. He gets a lot of sacks. And we're going to get pressures from Harold Landry. He does a really good job as well. And Milton Williams, this is where we paid him. And this is the reason why we paid him. Playoff Milton Williams. He got a lot of sacks last game. I expect him to do it this game as well. In terms of Texans, I think what's going to screw them is their offense, in my opinion. I just don't think, especially with Nico Collins not playing and with Christian Gonzalez possibly not playing as well, that kind of cancels those two out, crazy enough. But I don't know, and I don't see how their offense is going to be able to put up more points than the Patriots' offense. But that's because of, I just don't think the Texans have enough weapons to do it. I don't think we're going to get another performance from Christian Kirk like that. I doubt it. And in my opinion, you're going to have Woody Marks. I don't think he's a top running back in my... He's not a good... Like, he's a good running back, but he's not a top-tier running back like we have on the other side with Ramondre Stevenson and TreVeyon Henderson. When those guys can get open in field, that's a problem. TreVeyon Henderson, when he gets... I think he needs a big game in this as well. I think it's going to be a super low-scoring game. I think the run game is going to be a super heavy run game on the Patriots side. I think Patriots win this game 17-14. I think Morales hits a game-winning field goal on this.
So I'm being unbiasedly in a sense that obviously I'm a Jet fan, so I hate the Patriots. But how he said that the Broncos are the most fraudulent 1 seed of all time, I think the Patriots, I'm not saying they're frauds, but they're fucking frauds in my opinion. The only reason is the quality that the Broncos faced this whole season versus the Patriots, two different types of quality of teams that they played. The Patriots played more on the weaker side because of their strength of schedule. The Broncos, obviously, they don't have the same explosive offense that the Patriots have. So they're not going to put up the same amount of points that the Patriots will. With that being said, we just saw the Patriots play a Chargers defense that is a top 10 defense. And in the regular season, the Patriots played no top 10 defenses. Now you're going against the best defense. The key here is, can the Texans offense show up? Now, obviously, we don't know the status of Nico Collins. dealing with a concussion. Obviously, we don't know the status of Christian Gonzalez because he's also dealing with a concussion.
Yeah, they're both dealing with concussions.
We're going to see both running games. Both running games are
It's
going to
be a heavy running game.
Both running games has to be a key factor. The one thing that has to be consistent is, can CJ Stroud manage the pressure that the Patriots will bring? Because we just saw it against the Chargers. Granted, the Texans' offensive line is a little bit better.
It's better, yeah.
But we've seen it where throughout the playoffs in CJ Stroud's career, they can't hold up. Obviously, they played the Chiefs the last couple of years, and Andy Reid is known for blitzing younger quarterbacks. And Mike Vrabel is probably going to do the same thing.
I definitely see him doing it too.
If the Texans can put up some points in the first half, I feel
that's what I was gonna say too. I think the only way Texans win this game is in the first half.
If Texans can at least score minimum 13 points in the first half, I feel like they win this game. And I'm gonna roll with the Texans on this one. I had them going to the Super Bowl because of their championship defense. I feel like we're gonna get a big game from Woody Marks. And if Nico Collins does play, that's the X factor right there. Like you said, Christian Gonzalez might be out. And at the end of the day, this is CJ Stroud's time to rise and shine because he's made the playoffs his first 3 years. He's won playoff games. Obviously, the one common factor was he did play Patrick Mahomes twice.
Yeah.
And now he's in a situation where you're playing arguably the best AFC team, and this is your moment to shine. And I feel like I'm going to roll with the Texans on this one. I think it's going to be 20-17. I feel like it's going to be the opposite, where the Texans, Ka'imi Fairbairn hits a field goal.
Yeah, so before we get off this game, I do want to mention this one other thing. The Patriots are a second-half team. They're a team of adjustments, and they've done it all season long, where in the second half, Mike Vrabel comes out with his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator, and they come out with great game plans in the second half. That's what I'm saying. The only way I see the Texans winning this game is if they need to dominate in the first half.
Right.
And because the Patriots, it's going to be hard for them to come back. I don't think we're really a scoring and comeback team. We're a team where we put up points and we hold the lead. I think that we're really good at that. So let's see how this game plays out. In my opinion, I think the winner of this game goes to the Super Bowl on the AFC Championship game. The winner of this Texans or Patriots game. I think winner of this goes to the Super Bowl. So let's see how it goes. We have arguably the MVP in Drake May versus CJ Stroud, who is obviously a top-tier talent. And obviously realistically, you would probably take CJ Stroud over Drake May right now. But if Drake May plays very, very well against this damn Texans defense, there's a lot of questions that he just answered. Because if Drake May puts up 200-plus yards on this Texans defense, I don't know what else can you say against these Patriots. This is the chance where they got to prove it.
This is the most toughest test that they'll face.
And if they do it, great for the Patriots, because then it proves everybody wrong on what everybody thought anyway. So let's see how the Texans go. But the Texans, I think they're running on house money. Like a lot of people, I think they're not favored to win this game. So it's house money for them.
No.
If they can win this game, it's great for them. It's great for it's great to see them in the championship again, because I don't know when the last time the Texans made a championship game.
They never made a championship game.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a first for them.
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes. Next up, we have the 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks. The San Francisco 49ers are hot. Christian McCaffrey is hot. But we're facing off against the number 1 seed in the Seattle Seahawks with Sam Darnold and JSN. And with their 2 running backs in Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. This is going to be very interesting because we're going to have a team where they had a week off, and I think a team like the Seattle Seahawks with a week off, it's going to benefit them. Because JSN, he's arguably another number 1 receiver in this league. And you have Sam Darnold, who's looking to pretty much make the haters go away because people are calling him now a regular season quarterback. Can he produce in the playoffs? It's time to find out, especially with this 49ers team against him. Brock Purdy, on the other hand, people always said it all year long, system quarterback. Can Kyle Shanahan's system beat the Seattle Seahawks team? I think they do. I think the 49ers win this game. I think CMC continues this ride, and I'm picking the San Francisco 49ers to have a big game, Brock Purdy to have a big game, in my opinion, as well. I think 49ers win this game 35 to 13. 35 to 33.
Okay. The key here is the health of all of the 49ers players because they just played on, when did they play? They played on Sunday.
Yeah.
Now they're playing on Saturday again with a much more banged up team against a really healthy team that had a week off. The problem with the Seahawks is can Sam Darnold finally show up in the playoffs?
Yeah, that's the
We
question.
saw it last year where he led the Vikings to pretty much the same record as the Seahawks this year, and he just choked out in the first round last year. And at the end of the day, this is a much more coached team than he had last year. Granted, he had the more better skill playmakers,
Right.
but I feel like now he's more understanding of what is ahead. And I'm going to roll with the Seahawks because of their, I guess, the amount of time that they had off to recuperate, watch the 49ers, see how they play, how they're going to use CMC. Obviously, they saw him twice earlier on this season. This is just the third time is the charm, basically, at this point.
Yeah.
But Seattle Seahawks, in my opinion, like how you said with the Texans, they're playing with house money. The Seahawks are playing with house money only because they're fortunate to be in the number 1 seed, in the 12th man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm more with the Seahawks on this one. I think it's going to be a mid to high scoring game as well. I'm going to say the Seahawks win this game 30-24.
30-24. And then the last game we have on the docket for the divisional games is the Los Angeles Rams versus the Chicago Bears.
Yes, I'm actually really excited for this game because we have two potentially high. I think the winner of this game is going to go to the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
Right.
Rams, obviously high-powered offense. Bears, the comeback kids, let's just say that, because they don't really show out in the first couple of quarters, but they'll show up in the last few quarters. The key here is we haven't seen the Bears establish the running game as much as we thought they were going to the last few weeks. They have a good running back tandem in Kyle Monanga and DeAndre Swift. But they haven't really called the plays for them.
Yeah.
You know? Ben Johnson, he's obviously going to be a little bit more creative with what he wants to call, especially against the Rams, who have another creative head coach in Sean McVay. I in the end of the year podcast, I did pick the Bears to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I'm going to roll with the Bears on this one as well. I feel like they're coming in hot. They have the mojo going. The team is firing on all cylinders. It's going to be at Soldier Field. It's going to be cold. West Coast coming into the Midwest. And the Rams, they're going to put up points. But I feel like the Bears, they're going to expose who the Rams are on defense. And they're going to have to score points as well. I'm going to roll with the Bears on this one. I think they win this game 35-31.
All right. So for me, in this game, and I know, obviously, all year long, I was kind of rooting for the Bears. I wanted them to do well this year. But I think the Cinderella story ends here. I think they absolutely get mollywopped. I think the Rams destroy them, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I feel like the Bears are going to kind of self-implode in this game. I feel like Caleb Williams is going to have a few picks this game. Because in the type of environment like this, Sean McVay is really good at playing quarterbacks that are young. He does really good job of putting up a defense, especially on the defensive side, with Jared Verse and with those corners. I think you're going to confuse him a lot with these packages, with these blitz packages, with these coverages. I don't know if Caleb Williams is going to be able to figure it out, and I think this game is going to get lost in the first half, and it's going to run away from them. And the thing is, obviously the Bears are known to be comeback kids, but with a team like the Rams, I don't think you're going to able to play from behind and put up enough points to catch up to them because their offense is too good. I don't think anyone on that Bears team is able to hold Puka Nacua. I don't think anyone on that team is able to hold Devontae Adams. I don't think anyone on that defense is able to even hold Kyron Williams if he has a big game, which he still hasn't had yet. And I think he's due for a big game as well. I'm going to see the Rams coming into Chicago and pretty much quieting that entire crowd. I think it's going to be the end of the Bears Cinderella story. I think Rams win this game 35-16. I think it's going to be running away, especially in the first half, depending on how well Stafford is able to play, especially with that injury. It depends on that injury. If he tapes it up and he's fine and is good to go, I don't see why Matthew Stafford wouldn't be able to shred that Bears defense. I don't think they're an elite defense like that. I think they're good, but I think Stafford's able to shred elite defenses. So let's see how it goes with that. But that sums up our NFL divisional games, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to recap it all next week, especially with the winners for the championship games. And after the championship games, we're going straight into the Super Bowl. So we're getting to the very near end of NFL season. It's getting close. The games are getting better. There's more offense and defensive played. Every play and every snap counts going forward. But that sums up our NFL recap for this week. All right, guys, now it's time to get into our NBA recap, and we're going to quickly go over our two favorite games of this week, and I'll let Farden start off with his favorite two.
Yes, the first game I have is the Wolves and the Cavs. The Cavs won this game 146-134. if you wanted a fun offensive game, this was for you. And if you wanted a defensive game, this was not for you because it's just a high-scoring game on both sides. The thing about the Cavs here is, I feel like if their their starting five plays really well, they can win games. And this is exactly the game that they had. All 5 starters scored, I believe, 15 plus points.
Yep.
They had a good production from their bench. On the Wolves side, on the other hand, they need help for Ant because he's just like a one-man show. Julius Randle is the biggest piece of dog shit I've ever seen in my life. And at the end of the day, they have no point guard. And Rudy Gobert, in my opinion, is the most overrated center of all time. I don't know why he deserves all the money that he gets. But he just got babied by Evan Mobley and Jared Allen at the end of the day. Apparently, he's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, but who knows? Second game I have up is the Spurs against the Celtics. The Spurs won this game 195. Simply put, the Celtics got punched in the mouth. They didn't have Jaylen Brown this game, and they had to rely on Derek White and Peyton Pritchard, who both had big games.
Those two are not going to win you games, though.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is what it is, but... The Spurs, on the other hand, they have a solid defensive core. Wembanyama is still Wembanyama. But this team, their future outlook is going to depend on the health of Wembanyama.
Yeah,
if he can stay healthy throughout the year and into the playoffs.
Well, throughout his career.
Well, that too. They definitely could make the finals this year, especially with the talent they have. They have room to grow. They have the assets to trade for a bigger piece. And we'll see how it goes. But the Celtics, on the other hand, I'm always going to talk about it. We need a big man, and... We'll see what Brad Stevens pulls out during the trade deadline.
Let's go into my favorite 2 games. So first up, we have the Clippers versus the Pistons. The Clips won this game. Kawhi Leonard recently has been on a tear, and it's very interesting to see why Kawhi Leonard is playing more and playing better. I don't know. Everyone always should raise eyebrows when Kawhi Leonard is doing more for a team. So it makes you think like what's going on there. Tyronn Lue got the team playing defense really well, especially with all these old geezers they got on the damn team still. James Harden, still looking like James Harden, in my opinion. James Harden always delivers, honestly, in my opinion.
In the regular season.
In the regular season. When he's there, like he gives you a solid 20 and even 10 assists if you need it. When it comes to the Pistons, they played this game without Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham is out for a while. I don't know how long he's out, but he's out for a minute. And they're pretty much relied on this game on their other stars, but in reality, the Pistons are not going to win any games without Cade Cunningham. So I think that, in my opinion, the Clippers... They're fighting for a playoff spot, and the Pistons are fighting to keep in the top 3. I think they can lose it real quick, especially with all these teams that are winning games right now. And with the Pistons not having Cade Cunningham, they can fall very quickly. But let's talk about the other two. The other game on my list, which is actually a 2-1, it's the Trailblazers versus the Rockets. And the Trailblazers actually beat the Rockets twice in a row with a full Rocket team. Well, it makes me think like, what's going on there? What's the story? What's happening there? We got the young Blazers crew who don't have Damian Lillard, who is actually back on that team. Like, people forget he's hurt, but Damian Lillard is a Blazer.
Yeah.
So what I've been hearing is Damian Lillard is on the coaching side right now. He's coaching these young cats right now. And
well, they kind of need to, especially with Chauncey Billups being out with this stupid gambling
Billups
shit.
is out, so you obviously have Lillard working with that coaching crew, and it's good to see we have Denny Avdija, who's been quietly putting on the most improved season of the year.
Yeah.
He went from 16 points to 26 now. Denny
And
Avdija,
averaging like 6-7 assists.
yeah, and rebounds. He's been rebounding too. Denny Avdija, don't forget, he was a top pick and for the Wizards. So a lot of people thought this is just another foreign player that's gonna like fizzle out.
Yeah.
But look, he on the Blazers. It's his second year on the Blazers. He got better every year in his career. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a really star player in Avdija going forward. I don't know. Let's see how it goes with the Blazers. But in my opinion, the Blazers definitely going to be a team where they're rebuilding for a while. Shaedon Sharpe is really good too. But on the other side, the Rockets, they're just losing these games. I don't know. It just happens. KD is actually putting up 30 points like normal. And it's like KD is playing like himself. But you still can see that they obviously need a point guard. They don't have Fred VanVleet. We do know that John Morant's on the market. That's very interesting in my opinion. And we also thought that Trae Young was on the market for Houston, but he ended up going to the Washington Wizards. So let's see how that plays out. This is the NBA recap. We're always going to be talking about it. Our favorite two games every week. The season continues on, and we'll recap it all here. All right, guys. Now it's time to the end of the segment of the show. It's our sideline heel takes, and we'll let Farden start off with his first sideline heel take of 2026.
Gotta take off the mic. I think the topic of discussion this last 10 days or so, especially with the NFL the regular season coming to an end, is this idea of coaches getting fired, getting let go, parting ways, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. Some understandable than others. Some don't make sense in my opinion. But my sideline heel take this week is that head coaches or managers or any type of lead personnel for a coaching staff in any sport, they need to stop being the scapegoat for teams that aren't doing well. Especially in football. Well, not even football, just sports in general.
Sports in general.
Everything
yeah.
always going to rely on the players. Yeah, people can buy into whatever the coaches are selling, whatever offensive strategies, whatever defensive strategies, especially when it comes to basketball and football, because those are the things that align. I've seen basketball, you play defense, you play your man, you can switch the zone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In football, on the other hand, you need to understand coverages. You need to understand what the offense is going to do. And a lot of it has to come down to the quarterback. And if you don't have a good quarterback who can't read defenses, they struggle. Look at the Jets, for example. We don't have a good quarterback. We are ass at the end of the day. And you have other teams out there that have the personnel, but they don't have the right coaching. And in my opinion, they let go of coaches too easily. A lot of it falls on the players because they're not doing their job. They're not buying into the systems.
Right.
If the players aren't doing jobs, why give it to the head coach? It also falls on the front office as well. Because the front office, they're making the decision to hire these coaches. And when the players are failing, they blame it on the head coach. Why? I don't know. At the end of the day, constant head coaching changes in any sport, it hinders team chemistry. When you have a team that doesn't gel, they don't have the full spectrum of each other, what to call, what to play.
Right.
Like, I'm not counting baseball, for example, because baseball, it's a mind game at the end of the day. You either swing, you either miss.
Right.
That's it. That's really it
Yeah.
at the end of the day. But in other team sports, it falls on coaching. And when you don't have the right coach, the team doesn't do well. There's no chemistry with the team. So why give that spectrum to a point where you're not giving these coaches a chance to build something for the future? And in some cases, some teams are building or in their rebuilding stages, and they just let go of their coaches mid-season. Like, for example, the Tennessee Titans this season, they let go of Brian Callahan, who just drafted Cam Ward.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is, granted, Cam Ward played well throughout the season, but the players surrounding him are not good.
Yeah.
He has the talent, and all of a sudden, the front office, they decided that Brian Callahan's not a good coach. They let him go. They need to realize that they're the ones making the decisions to get the players that they need to. And I hope for the best for Cam Ward. I know he's a good player. And they build the right team around him.
Yeah.
But you have teams out there, like, for example, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. They both just got... Mike Tomlin stepped down. The Ravens parted ways with John Harbaugh. They were both long-tenured head coaches.
Yeah.
Now they're going to be going through the search again, in which they haven't gone through a search in 15-plus years.
Yeah.
But you have teams like the Falcons, the Giants, who got rid of their head coaches because their players weren't playing well. Obviously, the Giants, they suffered injuries. And I don't know what really happened with the Falcons. I just feel like there's just there's no team chemistry there. And Michael Penix went down. Yeah. But at the end of the day, head coaches, they need to stop being the scapegoat. We need to really look at the front office, their decision-making, as well as ownership as well. Because when you have a really shitty owner, the team doesn't really play well. It's proven. The Jets don't play well. The Commanders, before they got rid of Dan Snyder, they weren't playing well.
Right.
And it's just a matter of the higher personnel. They need to be accounted. They need to be more accountable versus the head coach.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Like, some coaches, like, we obviously know, and it's obvious in certain cases where these coaches didn't deserve to get fired.
Yeah, like Brian Daboll, he's a really good coach. But when your team is not playing well, especially when it falls on the players not buying into the offensive system, you can't really put it on Brian Daboll.
And a lot of people use them as a scapegoat because they just feel like they just need a fresh start.
Yeah.
But how many fresh starts can you get, especially when you're on a team that's known to just keep changing head coaches?
Especially with the teams that
For example,
are known.
Cleveland Browns. How many times have these guys gone through head coaches?
The Jets.
And let's see, like, what is the reason for them to keep doing it? I get it that maybe the coaches are not producing, but at the end of the day, that falls on the players as well, because we're going to see it, especially going forward. A lot of these players moving forward nowadays, they determine how well they want to play. It's based on their mood, based on how they want to do and perform for someone.
Right.
And if you don't develop that rapport with your team, That's an easy way for you to get out right there. And
Yeah, if you look at all the well-coached teams, like why is Andy Reid so beloved? Why is Sean McVay so loved? Why is Kyle Shanahan so beloved?
Yeah.
And then you look in the MLB side, why is Dave Roberts so beloved? And then on the NBA side, why is Mark Daigneault so involved? Why is Eric Spoelstra so beloved?
It's people that are able to pretty much connect with their team and play well for them.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't see that. It's not evident with the coaches with certain teams, and they get let go for it.
Yeah, like the Panthers and the Jaguars. They didn't have good coaches last season. They
Yeah.
hired good coaches this season. Look what they did. They all made the playoffs.
Right. So let's see how it goes for coaches, because I definitely know that coaching is something that it's basically a hit or miss. Like some coaches will do really well for you, some won't. And at the end of the day, if the team isn't performing well, it's sad to say that the head coach is always going to be the first one to get
For sure.
kicked out.
Yeah.
But that wraps up pretty much what Farnan was saying with his sideline he'll take. So let me start with mine. Mine is also pretty much around a broad sense where we're starting to see a lot of athletes and a lot of young superstars come out. And for example, let's talk about basketball and let's talk about football and let's talk about soccer. Let's talk about even baseball as well. These are players that are coming out of high school where they're already fully developed and they could even play pro, in my opinion. There's obviously rules and regulations now in place to force these players to go into college at this point, and I don't think it's really needed, in my opinion. And I think they need to kind of go back to the old system where they allow these people to make decisions to go to the pros if they really want to. Because at the end of the day, who is it for someone in the league and someone in the league office to make that decision versus a team that wants to scout a player and want to get him? I don't think that's right, in my opinion. So that's why I think it's time to let the athletes bypass college and go straight into the pros. And first reason is, let's talk about international players. International players, they don't go to college when it's time for them to go pro. When you're 13, 14 years old, you're already a pro. Luka Doncic is a prime example where he started playing professional ball at 13 years old. And look at him now. The system works. It's obvious they do. Alperen Sengun is another example. These players all played pro ball. Wembanyama is another example. All played pro ball. You don't really have that option with the NFL. But in terms of the NFL, you could definitely say that there's receivers that are able to come out and go straight into playing pro. With the college, yeah, you want to develop that system and put them in there. But guess what? You're going to the best systems already. You're going to the teams where they're the top level coaches are there to develop you. Why can't you do it like that? You don't have to go to college if you don't want to. I don't think you should be forced to, especially if the team is taking the risk to take you. That's on them. That's the team. What forces them to go to college if they can grab them from there? That's my whole point. It's like they're limiting the time for the players to make their own decisions, because at the end of the day, if a scout for the Texans want to go grab a wide receiver that's 15 years old, who's stopping them? If they want to grow and build them, yeah, you're playing grown-ass men. I get that. That doesn't mean that you can't stop them. That's the Texans making that choice, in my opinion. But another thing is, let's talk about the training, the coaching, and the skills are so enhanced these days. People are already getting next-level coaching before they even get into these colleges. For example, pro camps, summer camps, all these people are literally partaking in these all year long, no matter what. If you're in high school, I know these baseball players, they go to all these camps, especially when the season ends. They go to all these pitching camps, these batting camps, whatever it is. NBA, they get private trainers to train them in the off season. When it comes to the NFL, you definitely know that some of these go to the Manning Academy. They go to all these receiving academies.
Yeah.
They pretty much are working on their game without even having to go through the college system, because you don't really need to. Because if you have the money and you have the talent, you can definitely enhance it on the off-season side with all the skills and training. Another thing is, now it's kind of less important than it used to be, was the financial opportunity, because now you can make a lot of money in college. But there's a gap to that. You can't make that much because you can't stay in college forever. You go straight to the pros, you're making pro money, you're making contracted money already at that point. Because at that point, you're set for life, you have a contract, you have a guaranteed contract, versus the NIL, which fluctuates depending on your market value. You may be a top 10 player one season, you get injured, all your NIL money's gone right there, because then you drop off in the NIL, you're not playing, you're not getting sales. That's how the NIL works, because I've seen it with one player, for example, in college, where he came in. He's a top 5 NBA player, top 5 high school player. He got injured in his first year. I think the school gave him like $3 million. Now he's maybe making like 20 grand because he got injured. Because of your value went so depreciated at this point. The team can't play you. They can't market you. Why would you market a player that's not playing? So it's like the NIL game. If you're able to play, you can make a lot of money from it, and you get that college system. But if you want to go straight to the pros, you get guaranteed money and guaranteed contracts that's secure for your future and your family right then and there. And lastly, a lot of people have this take on mentality and maturity for these kids coming out. But nowadays, you look at all these talented kids, they go to these schools and programs that already enhance that. IMG Academy is a prime example. Oak Hill is a prime example. These schools all have high-level people coaching, working in there, where they already coached at a professional level and instilling this mindset in these kids. And if you're a talented player and you're a pro-level player, you're going to get that attention that you need to not get away from that mentality to go pro. At the end of the day, what's the end game? You want to go pro. And if you're able to get to pro from a high school level, that just proves how talented you are, how much work ethic you could put in, and how much people see a future in you talent-wise. So that's why I do think athletes have a chance, and they should be able to be given the chance to go pro and not go through the college system.
As you were talking, I was like trying to digest everything. And the one thing that stuck out to me while I was thinking about it is, I think it depends on certain sports. I also think it depends on the international side of things as well. When you look at it from soccer, look at it from baseball, look at it from hockey, and certain parts of basketball. A lot of the players are international players. And I see it from the baseball side a lot. They scout players in the South America, Latin American countries.
Yeah, they probably scout these baseball players when they're like 12 years old.
Yeah, they scout players in the East Asian markets, and they're all scouting players, and they bring them over, they sign into contracts, whether it's the minor league affiliates, you know what I mean? They're all part of the system where they grow and compete.
Right.
And I think that's something that baseball does generally, because they've always done that for years, where they scout players, they bring them up from the farm system. Because baseball, at the end of the day, you can play a lot longer than other sports. When it comes to basketball, a lot of people can say that now a lot of international players are the best basketball players in the world.
For sure.
You know what I mean? You have Giannis, you have Wemby. SGA technically is Canadian, it's North American, whatnot. When it comes to soccer, on the other hand, they're scouting players right out the womb, basically, at this point.
Those kids go into these soccer academies at like 11 years old.
I personally, if you ask me, would you rather have them go pro when they're young or go to college? I would personally rather have them go to college first. And the only reason is because I know you said about the mental maturity aspect, but I don't think you want to give a kid right away a 5-year, 6-year contract worth like 20, 25 million. Because you can set your family up, but we don't know what they're going to do with that money. We don't know where their values lie. They can be brought up in a way is one thing, but when they're not brought up in a way, because a lot of the athletes nowadays, they didn't have much growing up. They were from the streets and this and that. We don't know what the mindset is going to be on that sense. But I get what you're saying, and I feel like this can be done only in certain sports like baseball, basketball, soccer. Not so much for football, because we know a lot of really messed up football players that have been, that have graced us with their presence over the last however long we've been watching footballs, and there's a lot of nut jobs out there. And I also think that the money aspect of things, you can get money in college, and that's great and all, but it's just a matter of what they want to do with it at that point.
Right. And at the end of the day, it all depends on what kind of support system and what people that they have around that team.
Yeah.
But you do realize that the star players get so much more attention. They get so much more people that are around them and coaches that are already ready to like father them and pretty much get them to become a grown person and get ready, league ready, because that's what everyone's doing right now. Everyone's getting league ready, getting pro ready. So that mindset is already instilled in certain schools and programs already. I can definitely see it. Like, for example, like we definitely know a lot of people, they bypass the college route in basketball and they go play international for a little bit, or they go to the G League at night. Like, let's see there's options to do that in certain sports, like you said. But when it comes to the NFL, there's really not much options in between. It's either college. That's the only option and the only route
you go
you
to
have.
like the CFL, but that's really different.
Yeah,
AFL
but like
or
you
whatever.
gotta be, but like
UFL.
right. But like let's like how many players really ever come of that and go straight into the NFL? That's impossible. But obviously, this is a topic that's been debated for years. Why athletes should go to college and shouldn't go to college. It all depends on obviously the way I think that people are grown and the way they're brought up and the way that they're able to be pro ready at the end of the day. But that kind of sums up our sideline heel takes for this week and our episode for this week. As we continue, we're going to be talking about a lot about NFL playoffs because we're just in the thick of it. Wrestling, we're in the thick of it as well as we're building to Royal Rumble. And in terms of NBA, we're just going to continue to recap all the games that interest us. And in terms of sports and news coverage as well, it's the off-season time. We're starting to get into the off-season time. There's a lot of things to talk about, so whatever happens, we're going to try to cover it here in terms of NBA, NFL, or whatever sport related. We'll talk about it here, but thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.